Good evening. My name is Mandu. I am 36 years old and I live in London at the moment. I'm the founder of The Cup Effect. What we do is we raise awareness about menstrual cups and we make them as widely available as we possibly can. The reason I do that is because I think menstrual cups are one of the greatest inventions of the 20th century that hardly anybody knows about. This is a menstrual cup. Look at it. It doesn't look like much, but it really is something special. They're made of soft, medical quality silicone, and they are reusable. Each one lasts for 10 years. I started using one 8 years ago after a conversation with my sister. And, I didn't believe her. I couldn't imagine, actually, that menstrual cups did what she said they'd do. I thought, hang on a minute, you want me to put that where? Something about me, though, I don't like to be a chicken. I like to be brave about things. I like to be adventurous about things. And so I said to her, do you actually use this thing? And she said, yeah, I do. And I thought to myself, well, I don't really have an excuse not to give it a try. I'm just very curious by nature as well. So that was part of my motivation. But I think it was more, this does sound like a very good idea. Yeah, I feel unsure, but I didn't think that was a good enough excuse to stay away and not explore and find out for myself. Anyway, 8 years of using a menstrual cup. I gotta say, my quality of life improved. It really did. Every month I found having my period was much less of a problem than it had ever been before. I found menstrual cups to be more comfortable, more convenient, and more reliable than anything else I'd tried in the past. And that made me think, hang on, I live in London, my life's pretty easy, I'm pretty pampered in a way, I'm pretty privileged, and this little thing has made a noticeable difference. So I thought, what about women and girls in parts of the world who don't have it as easy, who really struggle, who have real challenges and difficulties in their lives because they're living in very poor communities or living in very difficult circumstances. Maybe they're refugees, maybe they're living in urban slums, maybe they're living in very remote rural environments where, the services and the opportunities and the facilities just aren't there for them. And I didn't need to look very far to explore this because my mother is from Malawi and is not from a wealthy family at all. She grew up in an environment where things were very difficult. And I talked to her about her experiences of menstruating when she reached puberty, etc. And she said it was terrible. She said it really was a source of stress, embarrassment, shame, trouble, strife, and mainly because they couldn't afford, her family, they couldn't afford menstrual products like pads or tampons. And even if they could have afforded them, they actually weren't widely available in her community at the time. This was 40 years ago. And that's the thing. I thought, hang on, 40 years ago, let me find out what's going on now. And it didn't take me long to discover that for hundreds of millions of girls around the world, this issue hasn't gone away. It's still a problem. It's as big a problem as it ever was, and in some circumstances, probably an even bigger problem than in the past. And I just couldn't get that out of my head. I really couldn't. I actually grew up in Southern Africa. I was born in Malawi, where my mother's from, but I went to school and spent most of my childhood in Swaziland. So in some ways, Southern Africa in particular is home to me. And I am familiar with how people live and the inequalities in a lot of African countries. And I just thought, I have spent my whole adult life thinking about these things, caring about these things, but not for 1 second contemplating how something as basic as a monthly period could actually be a real source of problems or exclusion for women and girls around the world. And I was a bit disappointed in myself that I'd gone I'd gone through so many years not ignoring it, because it wasn't even in my mind. You can't ignore something that you're not even aware of. It just didn't enter my consciousness. And so I decided I'm going to do something about it. And that is the short version of the story behind how and why I founded the Cup Effect. We've got big plans for the Cup Effect, but I'll stop there and tell you about those in another short video.